Hello everybody, this is Axter speaking, and today we are going to look at some types of decks which we can play in Lord of the Rings trading card game. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of Players Council, so I want everybody to participate in the beautiful events coming soon in 2025. Now, let's get straight to the business. So, there are two win cons in the Lord of the Rings trading card game. The first one is that your fellowship successfully reaches 9th site, where the ring bearer survives. That means his vitality is at least 1 and his resistance is at least 1 at the start of regroup phase. That slightly differs in fellowship, in PC, where the regroup phase also allows the shadow player to do something that might kill the Free People's player, such as some regroup orcs mechanic. The second way how to win the game is by shadow. That means either killing or corrupting the ring bearer. There are some alternative ways how to win, but those are usually written on specific cards and do not see much play because they are usually hard to get to. Now, how do we reach that goal? So we have three basic ways how to build a sufficient deck. The first one we are going to look at, my personal favorite, is all in shadow. The deck is such that the shadow tries to kill the opponent before the Free People's dies. That means our Free People's is here to support the shadow any way possible to survive as long as necessary for the shadow to win and secure the win con. There are cards which draw, there are cards which delay opponent's setup, and there are cards which prevent our characters from dying. That's all. There isn't much ambition for running to the 9th site, whereas the shadow has one and only task to kill the opponent as fast as possible, or perhaps with some specific timing. What is iconic for this type of deck is that the shadow typically has some common goal, something how to kill the ring bearer. In this case, there is one primary way, that is to swarm the opponent, typically on side 4, where all the minions in the deck no longer remain roaming. And the secondary win con is to kill the fellowship by wounds placed upon the companions by the regroup orcs' abilities. The second way how to build a deck is by doing the complete opposite. The Free People's is here to run against all types of shadow, usually possesses arsenal, which can destroy setup of the opponent. They also possess a way how to protect the ring bearer against swarm, against strong minions and against wounds. And there are replaceable companions which, as they enter the battlefield, they come and go, and it is not a problem for the deck because there is always another one waiting for you to fill your numbers. The shadow in this case has a function of stopping the opponent from reaching the 9th site first. An iconic combination is the Last Alliance combined with Corsairs. The strength of this deck of the shadow is that if the opponent moves again, he is under the threat of having to face Customer of Umbar with the notorious combo of Rider Halberd and his Enduring and Fierce abilities. This deck works in such a way that the Free People's typically bids 2, perhaps 3 burdens at the start of the game, runs for the 9th site, and the shadow is there to primarily stop the opponent and potentially kill him when the situation allows it. The last one is a balanced deck. That means both the Free People's as well as the shadow are able to secure the win con. The Free People's in this case is the so-called Saved Condor, working around the Saved from the Fire card, and the shadow is Morgul Swarm, which attempts to exhaust the ring bearer and then put some very difficult situations, put the opponent in the very difficult situations where he is forced to move into an even worse situation, and therefore it stops him successfully, sometimes even kills him. And the Free People's has again ways how to destroy the setup of the opponent, protect itself against strong minions and heal in some way to survive long enough. Now, which is the best? Ideally the balanced deck, because statistically it is better when you have two ways how to kill your opponent or how to defeat your opponent, rather than if you rely only on one of these strategies. Why is that? Because let's say that you play against an opponent and your shadow draw is horrible. What if you are playing a shadow all-in deck? Well, then you are pretty much screwed. And the same goes if you play free people's based deck combination and you have a bad free people's draw. Well, then your opponent just runs, you are not able to stop him, perhaps he even stops you, and you are doomed. With the balanced deck, however, you are usually able to cover up for the other side of the deck when the draw is bad in either way, and the other half of the deck tries to make up for it and save the situation for you. So these are the three main ways how to build a deck. It all depends on the meta. Sometimes when you see that, for example, hobbits are the meta, you can play, for example, Gollum, which has very efficient anti-cards, so-called counters, which can punish this meta heavily. That would be something called an anti-meta call. That means you pick a deck which will excel against your expected opponent's strategies. The problem that many people struggle with is that they decide upon something and then they struggle with it while playing it, typically not knowing what the cause might be. In this situation we are looking at something that I named My Dream Deck. It is very thematic. It mainly covers Rohan and Work Riders, an excellent combination if we consider the Lord of the Rings lore and the films. But the problem is, this Free Peoples is excellent at surviving. It is able to destroy setup, it is able to solve very strong minions, it is able to remove threats by some cool tricks. The Shadow, however, is really able to stop the opponent at some situations and perhaps prevent him from moving again, typically not to kill the opponent. That is very slightly to be seen. We are a movie, so we can see movie sides. That is not too relevant, but as I mentioned before, this is not a very good combination, because the Free Peoples can move once, and if it moves twice, then it is under danger of dying, whereas the Shadow is not able to kill the opponent. Then what does a game with a deck like this typically look like? Either I try to shorten the distance between me and my opponent who is ahead, so I die, or my opponent is on side 9, my Free Peoples is healthy on side 5, and my Work Riders did nothing. That would be a bad call. Instead, try to put, for example, Corsairs with these Free Peoples, sorry, not Corsairs, I mean regular Porks or something that kills the opponent much easier, and you will have much better statistics, provided that you play well, without mistakes, in a perfect scenario. So those are the basic deck types, and in the next video I will focus on how to build the all-in Shadow strategy.